Hey gang, I'm Professor Feeser, and for almost 20 years I've been creating original training solutions for large groups and organizations. You're an education advisor for an enterprise, and you have an upskilling assignment, go ahead and reach out to me. You can find my course catalog over on my website. I'd love to start a conversation. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about using Ansible to speak to Cisco iOS Z, XE, whatever you want to call it. What is Ansible? Let's scratch that itch very quickly. Ansible is an abstraction of Python. So rather than write Python code to connect to Cisco iOS, rather than write code to make changes to Cisco iOS, that's already done. We just have to feed into the scripts that are already written the dynamic pieces, the parameters. And you do that through a playbook. A playbook's the changes you want to make. In addition to a playbook, you need an inventory, and then you need any input files. We have one input file here. It's called iOS banner txt. Playbooks are written in YAML. That's how they're structured. I'm going to go through this playbook very quickly. I'm going to go through the inventory quickly, and then I'll show you the input file. We'll run it, and we'll get a win under our belt. Our goals here is not to become Ansible experts or Cisco platform experts or automation wizards. Our goal is just to have faith that this works. We can make this work. As far as what I've installed so far, all I've installed is Python and Ansible. That is it. That's it. So, any dependencies we'll talk about as well. Let's get through the playbook though. 3 dashes at the top is a YAML thing. That's the start of the document. The hyphen is a sequencer. It means this whole thing, everything that's indented beside it, is part of a sequence. That's because you can have multiple, these are called plays, inside of the playbook. We only have a single play here. Why there's just one hyphen. Name is metadata for our play. Gather facts is a pre-task. We're not worried about it. We're not using it here. Connection we have to pass. We're going to pass it in the inventory. Become true. That was an experiment. We don't need that. Host all. That's what we want to target in the inventory. My group in the inventory is actually called Cisco. But all is a keyword that just means exactly what it sounds like. Everything the light touches effectively. My variable, I do have to have a variable called Ansible Network OS that primes the pump, tells Ansible like what language is going to be spoken. Lets Ansible know what to expect in terms of responses back from the Cisco iOS platform. You set that per operating system that you go to. So network operating system that you go to. If connection is network CLI, you got to set this. Tasks, that's the changes that you want to make. That's a comment, but these are pre-checks. So they're either going to sanitize input or they're going to make sure that things are going to work out the way we hope they're about to work out. It looks like ensure iOS banner txt is ready for input. Run once, that's because if I have multiple hosts in my inventory, it's going to try to run this multiple times. Well, all we're doing is making sure an input file exists. I don't need to do that multiple times, right? I only need to one time make sure that exists. So that's the run once parameter right there. The run once parameter gets applied to everything within the block. Block is a way to group tasks together. In this case, I have 2 tasks that are related. Check on file and this assert. The assert is a stat, check on file stat, and I'm making sure this file iosbanner.txt exists. So right there appears on the Ansible controller. I'm registering results, so everything this does, I'm saving up in results. delegating to local hosts. I'm just trying to make sure it understands. Don't try to execute this on the iOS platform. This is something I do on the controller. Next one, assert. Assert is executed on the controller. We're asserting that results.stats exist. This register here is a way to save the JSON that's returned to a Ansible module. Every single module, this is a module. Assert is actually a module. Cisco iOS banner is a module. When they execute, a block of JSON code is created, or JSON data is created, and you can save it and then consume it later on. So we're saving the results of this stat operation. Stat really just, it's like right-clicking on a file and saying properties. There's no way to actually make changes. It's just tell me about this thing. So save everything that we learn about this file into a variable called results. And then we're performing this assertion, right? It's part of a pre-check, where the assertion is simply, does the file exist? We don't want to go trying to make changes if our user didn't bring the correct inputs. In this case, our input is just a file we need called iOS banner. The change operation then, again, this is a Python script. It is in a directory called Cisco. It's in a directory called iOS. It's in a directory called iOS banner. These are Ansible core, Ansible built-in stat, Ansible built-in assert. That is in a standard library. So the folder's a bit different, but this is absolutely a folder. Cisco's a folder, iOS is a folder, iOS banner is a script, Python script. It makes a change. It's called a module. These are parameters. They tell the script how to run, right? Path is a parameter. It tells stat how to run. We can tell that because it's indented. That's the significance of the indentation. So in this case, iOS banner is being told we're setting a login banner. iOS banner is being told that the text we're going to set can be found in a file on the controller, and that's called iosbanner.txt. This is being handled, that lookup thing's called a lookup plugin. You tell it the resource type and then the actual resource. So there's lots of things you can look up, everything from file to CyberArk passwords. State present is saying we want this thing to be here, not gone, not missing. So that's it. Those are our tasks. Those are our tasks. 1, 2, 3 changes or 3 tasks that we're trying to execute. Let's go ahead and look at iOS banner. That's an easy one. Study Ansible Networking Essentials with Professor Feeser. Visit IRIS7.com for course info. I forget if it's 4 or 5 days, but the syllabus is out there. And if you have a group you want to run through it, like I said, reach out. Would love to run that class for you. Additionally, I can look at networking inventory. Here's networking inventory. These are comments up at the top. Cisco is a group name, but since we're saying all, it wouldn't matter. It would cross the group boundary. That's a host name. That's a host name. These are the IP addresses of that host. 1051.167 and 1051.36 are the IP addresses of our Cisco Catalyst platform. Ansible Net Common Network CLI, Cisco iOS. Ansible user student, Cisco 123. Cisco 123 is our password to get in. And then become is if you elevate sudo. You don't use sudo, you use the word enable, is what we're trying to teach it there. And then the password to enable, the admin password effectively. The important stuff would be from there up. That's really the critical stuff. This is host description, and then these are variables that are being populated to the hosts within that group called Cisco. But you can call Cisco whatever you want. You can call these things whatever you want. The variable names are important. Ansible host, Ansible connection, Ansible network OS, Ansible user, Ansible password are reserved. They are teaching Ansible how to make connections. So the very last thing you would need is maybe an Ansible Galaxy collection install cisco.ios. And it would just either be a Cisco iOS or possibly you might need to pass in the upgrade flag as well. You need to pass in upgrade if it's already installed. If it's not installed, you have to install it. I ran into some problems, or historically I've run into problems. Ansible Galaxy Collection. How about install? INSTALL. Cisco iOS upgrade. I've run into problems where I have Ansible installed and it's just an older version of Ansible, or for whatever reason that version of Ansible has an older version of the Cisco iOS collection. That just happened to me like a week or two ago, in fact. The playbook was just failing. And I finally said, I'll just upgrade everything. And it was when I upgraded the collection, everything started working again. So there's Python dependencies as well to worry about. However, Ansible is fantastic about telling you what those Python libraries are that are missing if it doesn't work. So we're not going to worry about those too much. It's a talk for another lesson, Python dependencies in Ansible. We're going to do Ansible playbook, which is how you execute an Ansible playbook. The name of the playbook. And then we have to say where the inventory is. Remember, the inventory describes the IP addresses. That should be enough. That should go out. It's making sure that our iOS banner is there. And it's done. It's done. If you're going, well, how would we check? How do you know? Well, because it's yellow. I'm going to grab this IP address. And we can SSH student at that IP address. If you're going, how did you know it's student? Well, because I'm just reading the connection info. It's student. That's what the password's going to be. Cisco 123 exclamation, Cisco 123 exclamation. I think the login banner comes up before them. Are you sure you want to SSH here? Yes, I am. Here you go. Study Ansible Networking Essentials with Professor Feeser. Visit IRIS7.com for course info. I hope you do. Well, gang, that was amazing. Didn't take much, did it? Ansible is a fantastic tool. It lets us get the satisfaction of real work being done very quickly. Python's great. Java's great. But you're in for a couple years of study before you have any wow factor. Ansible, you just saw maybe your first lesson, second, third lesson, whatever it might be. You can already abstract into your domain or maybe a different silo. Maybe you're not even a networker. It's your just first networking job that you can take to. Ansible's cool like that. Gang, I hope you learned something in this video. If you did, hit like, hit subscribe. I don't want to miss you in the next episode of Code with Feeser.